Homelander's gonna burn everything down. And we are the only ones who can stop him.
I will take care of this. Once and for all.
All right, let's get to work, yeah?
And even if we make it out of here, we ain't surviving this war.
The only thing we have left is hope.
I promise you, before I die, I'll have you.
Welcome back, everyone. It's Charlie. The boys have a Season 5, Episode 5 trailer video. There's a whole bunch of new footage, a couple cliffhangers that we have to pay off, and a big supernatural reunion with Jensen Ackles, Jared Padalecki, and Misha Collins. The other boys are back, so we will break it all down. Homelander being there during some of these scenes also implies that he and Soldier Boy have made up after the events of last week's episode 2. The episode title is One Shots, which sounds like a reference to the concept of a comic book one-shot where an artist or writer, or like Garth Ennis, the creator of the original Boys comics, did a one-off issue of some other particular story. And in the context of the Boys, it might imply some unrelated side quest, although they kind of did that during episode 4. There was kind of a side quest to set up the Vought Rising prequel, the Soldier Boy prequel with Jensen Ackles' character and a whole bunch of other people that they talked about during the episode. But because we are in the back half of the season now, I'm assuming that they didn't blow an entire other episode just on the supernatural crossover, so whatever it winds up being, it will also play into the actual narrative of the season, pushing things forward. So maybe the title One Shot is also a play on the idea of one-shotting a character, because that happens a lot in the Boys universe, blowing people up like wet balloons, which it seems like kind of happens to Misha Collins' character here in their supernatural reunion moments. Everybody press F to pay respects, because it does seem like Soldier Boy just absolutely destroys Misha Collins. We still do not know who he is playing, but he might just be a character who works at the Global Wellness Center, which is like Vought's rehab facility, which is where Mr. Marathon, Jared Padalecki's character, is staying. And they have confirmed that he is playing Mr. Marathon, the person who preceded A-Train as the speedster on the 7 until he got too old and started to lose his powers. It started to get slower, and he got a really, really bad drug problem, which is why he is at the Vought rehab facility. As you can see from his original costume in the Boys comic book, he's meant to be more of a parody of the Flash. So Jared Padalecki as the degenerate version of the Flash. Based on the footage, it seems like Homelander takes Jensen Ackles' Soldier Boy to the Global Wellness Center, and they meet with Mr. Marathon for some reason, and Misha Collins just also happens to be there. That's why I say he might just be a character that works at the Global Wellness Center.
I don't remember reading any scripts.
I remember being in the makeup trailer one morning and you looking over to me. I haven't read the script.
I don't read the script. Script reads me.
To steal a line from Tropic Thunder.
Eric Kripke, who created the Boys TV show, also created the Supernatural series, which is why there's so many supernatural crossovers and cameos and major characters on the Boys TV series. When he started doing the Boys, he just started bringing more of his supernatural actors that he was still friends with from back in the day onto the show. There have already been many of them in previous seasons. Jensen Ackles was just the biggest one with Soldier Boy because he was one of the main characters, and it's taken this long to get Jared Padalecki on because he's been so busy with other TV shows. Misha Collins too, because he knew he was going to have the big moment, so he was like, okay, now I'm going to do a real big supernatural reunion with all three of them together. But like we already had Jim Beaver, who played the previous president, he was Bobby Singer on the Supernatural show. Jeffrey Dean Morgan, who was their father, John Winchester, on the Supernatural TV series, also played Monkey, Butcher's friend inside the CIA, during previous seasons. Rob Benedict, who played God on the Supernatural show, actually was Splinter in a previous season, did the most messed up stuff. So when Eric Kripke said that he finally got Jared Padalecki and Misha Collins on the show, he said that he was also similarly going to do the craziest things that he could not do with them on the Supernatural TV show, like something super messed up. So we will see what kind of degenerate stuff they get up to during this next episode. I don't know how many episodes Jared Padalecki is in. It might just be the one episode, but we'll see. My assumption is they go to see him because they either need a speedster to do something or they need some information from him, and that's why it's important that they find him. There are a number of references to him in previous seasons, like at Vought Tower, he appears in Adam Bork's pre-production sketch for the Dawn of the Seven movie, and he's credited in the movie playing himself in the movie, but he doesn't actually appear, like Jared Padalecki hadn't been cast yet, so at the time there was no actual actor playing Mr. Marathon, he was just a character who existed in the context of the Boys. Recently, at the beginning of the season, there was a news ticker during one of the broadcasts saying that Mr. Marathon had gotten into legal trouble facing prison. He accepted a court-ordered stay at the Global Wellness Center in Malibu, California, which is the place where you're seeing him in all these supernatural crossover scenes. Just implying that whatever he might go to prison for, it's drug-related. Like all the other members of the Seven, he was a complete degenerate. Lamplighter said that he and Mr. Marathon used to sneak college girls into Seven Tower. Basically a lot like the Deep's character, but probably not quite as dumb as the Deep's character, just because they make making him dumber and dumber each season, mostly using him for comedy. We get another scene of Homelander looking at what seems like a statue of him inside a courtyard here, and it just seems like it's more to the idea they're trying to push him as the Messiah, as the Savior, the Prophet, as they technically call him, because they said that they couldn't actually call him God because there wouldn't be enough people who would actually buy it. So it just seems like Homelander's getting gassed up by the idea of having more statues to himself.
To those who seek to destroy me, the non-believers, I offer oblivion.
It seems like at some point Homelander actually sits inside the White House, inside the president's chair behind his desk, like he is now taken over officially the United States, even though before it was more like a puppet president just kind of doing what Homelander told him to do, but now he's actually sitting in the chair. This is also a big comp to the end of the original Boys comic book, which they're changing drastically for the TV show. Like, the show won't end like the comic book ended, but it did end with them in the White House with a really big WTF battle. It kind of seems like Frenchie is still trying to recreate the virus, and there is still hope, at least on the Boys, that they might be able to finish it in a couple weeks, which I think is meant to clock with the actual series finale. Like, in the last couple of episodes, they might have a working version of it if Homelander doesn't get the V1, and it does look like Sage is monitoring somebody that's actually working with V1 injections here, so not totally clear who they're giving it to and what she's doing with it, because it kind of seems like she doesn't want Homelander to actually get it. One of the early theories is that she was the person who told Bombsight, one of Soldier Boy's former squad mates, former teammates, to steal all of it from Fort Harmony before Homelander and Soldier Boy actually got there so that they wouldn't be able to get it. Most of that episode was meant to set up his Vought Rising prequel series, which takes place in the 50s right after World War II, right after he and his initial squad mates that Sage was talking about that she mentioned got the V1. So a couple of the others that we know are going to be on that show that we might see in future episodes of The Boys, if they really want to set up all the characters, are Private Angel, Torpedo, and then obviously the Stormfront reveal, who was going by Liberty during the 50s after World War II, so that people wouldn't know that she used to be a Nazi just a couple years prior. You have to remember this is right after World War II. And I know the next big question now, is Stormfront really alive? Because they had that big moment where Soldier Boy is like, there's no way she would kill herself. Did you see a body? And Homelander does not reply like, no, he didn't see it, because all he saw was the newsreel footage with a body bag, but not the body inside it. In the original Boys comic book, it's so hard to kill a Compound B superhero that usually when Vought wants to get rid of one, they'll just lock them up in a deep, dark hole where they don't have to deal with them, kind of like what happened with Soldier Boy putting him into cryo, stuff like that. So it is totally possible there's some big reveal in one of the later episodes that they're keeping Stormfront alive somewhere else secretly, and Homelander just didn't know about it till now. But because they're using so much air narrative during this final season to set up that Vought Rising prequel, I'm just expecting to find out more about those characters before the actual finale, because we're supposed to get those episodes early next year. We're not going to have to wait that long to actually see what's going on. So do not be surprised if you hear more about his time during the 50s, Soldier Boy's time during the 50s, and what Vought did during that period.
Your brother won a Silver Star for bravery at Anzio, and that's what made you beg your father to buy you a spot in Dr. Vought's trials.
We keep seeing versions of the scene with the boys in this giant field around Homelander, in the middle of the field, shooting his lasers into the sky, and it seems like Soldier Boy is near him. There's a syringe that's near them too, so maybe this is him taking the V1, or maybe this is them trying to use the virus on him. I think that some of this footage also happens in later episodes too, so like this all isn't for episode 5 particularly. We get another fight between Annie and O-Father in this place where he does all of his broadcasts from, where they just announce Homelander as the Prophet in the last week's episode. Not sure what's happening here, like why she's attacking him, but we do see O-Father using his ability against her, and it is more of like a sonic cry, like a force that pushes her back. We get another scene between Annie, Marie Moreau, and Jordan. Not sure which episode this happens in either, but they've been mentioning them a couple times in previous episodes this season, so eventually we will see them show up on the actual series as part of the narrative to take Homelander down. They were working in another place in the context of what the boys were doing previously. And they spent so much time during Gen V Season 2 setting up the idea that Marie was meant to be like Homelander's surrogate sister, created the same way Homelander was. Not actual biological sister, just created the same way that Homelander was created. So maybe her bloodbending ability would be powerful enough to work on Homelander. My assumption is this will also be a red herring, or she only just helps them take Homelander down because they've been pushing the Gen V characters off to the side so much, like such small part of Season 5, that I think however Homelander goes down, it'll be the core boys characters that are responsible for that. And most likely Butcher's character, like he will sacrifice himself to kill Homelander, or try to kill him. If the virus does wind up ultimately working, the only way I see that actually happening is if Butcher gives himself the virus and then uses that to get close to and kill Homelander, sacrificing himself to kill Homelander, and that's why Ryan ultimately believes that Butcher did care about him. This is like the big narrative for Butcher's character that they need to wrap up, like the rest of his character arc is being able to tell Ryan that he does love him and Ryan understanding that he loves him, but it feels like they're pushing that towards the finale. All these scenes of the boys in the hotel room just recommitting to each other, like, okay, we're on the same page now. We're going to take Homelander down no matter what the cost. We're all probably going to die doing this, but at least we'll take him down and we'll save the world in the process. And they're all just kind of like nodding at each other like, hell yeah. It also kind of seems like Kimiko is signing again and she isn't talking for some reason. And he's just like, okay, I'll take that as a yes, because he doesn't understand sign language. This is probably after they take off in the van at the end of last week's episode. Like they probably just take a minute to reconnoiter and recommit to the plan.
I'll take that as a yes.
Now that we're past the halfway point of the season, I also wouldn't be surprised if more big characters start dying, but I do think that most of the boys' main characters, like real big characters, have a lot of plot armor till at least episode 7. That's when a lot of bodies will probably start dropping. Everybody post all your reactions in the comments below, any other big crossovers that you want to see, or even characters from the Supernatural series. There are still many Supernatural actors that have not cameoed in the Boys universe yet, and we still have the Vought Rising prequel to bring back even more of them in the past. My full episode 5 video will post next week after they release it, and because it is CCXP, there's supposed to be a couple big trailers that'll be coming this weekend. Whatever they wind up releasing, of course I will do videos for it. There were a couple other big trailers that dropped in the past couple days too, so I'll try to get to all that stuff as quickly as possible. Everybody click here for that new Boys episode. I'll update the link as soon as I post that, and click here for all my other Boys episodes. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.